Marvel revealed the cast of a new one-shot coming this February, and I couldn't be more excited. The book is called Secret X-Men, and it features all the losers from the X-Men election that took place earlier this year. You might recall that the X fandom was in an uproar during the campaign season, with everyone vying for their favorite character to join the main team. While my personal vote went to Tempo, it ended up being Polaris who won the majority, and she's now in the spotlight as one of the X-Men team's heavy hitters. The election was a really fun marketing event, and even though we were happy to give Lorna her dues, it was sad to see other great characters and some obscure fan favorites not get their time to shine. I remember seeing lots of people suggesting that the election losers should make their own team, myself included, and lo, what do we have here but the exact thing that we asked for? Strong Guy, Forge, Tempo, Boom Boom, Marrow, Armor, Cannonball, Banshee, and Sunspot will all team up to form one big supergroup as they go on a quest into space to help the Shi'ar Empress Xandra with something intergalactic. This looks like a really exciting team to me, and I can't wait for this one-shot. Everyone here adds a little something different to the team dynamics, and I think this will be a surprise hit of the shelves. Now, let's take a look at what each of these characters has been up to since moving to Krakoa. Cannonball. Cannonball is stated as being one of the co-leaders of this group along with Sunspot. He will likely be like the impetus in what forms this team together, as he's been spending a lot of time in space these days and was most recently seen serving as a Super Guardian escort to Empress Xandra on her visit to Sword, where he helped to defend her against the Lethal Legion when they attacked. Cannonball hasn't been very active in any Krakoa-specific missions since moving to space with his wife Smasher and their kid. Being a dad is his primary focus right now, which is fine, though he did help his new mutant friends get out of court when they were being tried in Shi'ar space. They were served lifetime sentences, but luckily were reprimanded into Cannonball's care, so it was all good in the end. One mission that he did go on, though, was with Cable when he reformed the Exterminators to help take out a giant war machine being built on Breakworld. Korra of the Burning Heart helped Boom Boom create a giant plasma bomb, and Sam flew it directly into the machine's head as it exploded. Luckily, Sam is nigh invulnerable while he's blasting, or otherwise the explosion might have taken him out as well. Sam in a leadership position is certainly nothing new at this point, but I'm definitely going to be excited to watch him and Sunspot lead this team together. Sunspot. Sunspot was with the other New Mutants when they were being held at the Shi'ar Criminal Processing Station and then saved by Sam. After they were released, Xandra herself actually charged Sunspot and the crew with bringing her Aunt Deathbird, as Xandra wanted her guidance in how to rule. Sunspot developed an instant attraction to Deathbird, and though it took a bit of wooing from him, the feeling was eventually somewhat reciprocated, and they kind of got it on for a bit. It turns out that on Earth, Sunspot had actually felt a bit like abandoned by Sam ever since he relocated to space, so he confronted him about it and in the end decided that he might as well move out to space too, which he did by buying up like pretty much an entire planet. Sunspot was also seen helping Monet and Angel fund their X-Corp business and was worried about them mismanaging some of the funds that he invested in creating their flying base. But when the time came to trust them, he helped them power up the giant ionospheric bandwidth generator to impress a bunch of delegates at a tech conference. What I am most looking forward to in his co-leading this team with Sam is for them to butt heads a bit. They are super bro-y with each other, but I've never really seen them lead anything together, and their personalities are different enough to probably lend to some different management styles. Armor. The first really notable thing that Armor did with the whole Krakoan era was plant a flower gate on the surface of Mars, which at the time didn't really mean anything to us, but we know now it was all in service of leading up to the big reveal of the mutants terraforming Mars for Arakko. After that, Armor took it upon herself to find out which mutants were still missing from the island. She learned that Beak and Angel Salvador weren't there, so she took a small crew with her to Nebraska to convince them to come. While she was there, she saved Beak's dad with the Krakoan wonder drug, but then they all got ambushed by a bunch of anti-mutant mercenaries who wanted to extort them for like a ton of Krakoan pharmaceuticals. They eventually got free, but Beak's dad was killed in the process, and Armor had to suffer with the knowledge of Beak's memories of that being wiped by Mana and Mastiff. Armor was also instrumental in helping the New Mutants and Wildside rescue Cosmar from being trapped in her own nightmare. She used her powers to encase the team in her psionic exoskeleton and get them safely through enough so that Wildside could use his powers to distort Cosmar's nightmare into happy thoughts. The adventure hit her hard though, as through all the distortions she saw her parents again, and it did a number on her mental health. Armor also flirted with Kid Cable a bit while he was around, and she helped him obtain the Light of Galador sword. Giant monster beasts were rampaging all over Krakoa, and she helped Kid Cable fight off one of them, and in the end, it looked like it was just angry because it had a sword stuck in his foot. I thought that her and Kid Cable were going to hook up there, so it's a shame that nothing really happened before the adult Cable came back, but who knows, maybe in this one shot it will be Armor's true time to find love or something. Boom Boom. Boom Boom has primarily been seen partying and looking for a good time on Krakoa. I mean, who can blame her? We also saw her get angry at the other mutants when they went off to space without her, and she went after Armor and the gang to Nebraska when she sensed that trouble was brewing between them all. She used her powers to help break them out of the mercenaries' captivity by blowing up their getaway vehicles and basically saving the day. Later, Boom Boom goes with Armor again, this time to Magma's home of Nova Roma, where they rescue a bunch of new mutants, though Boom Boom isn't really a fan of the climate. Boom Boom was also part of the team that rescued Cosmar, though instead of going in with Armor into the nightmare, she hung back with a bunch of the others and fought off the soldiers and guards who were there demanding their surrender. Luckily, Tabby picked up a bit of Russian, so when Armor did rescue Cosmar, she was on hand to soothe Cosmar's fears and let her know that she was among friends. As she usually is, I expect Boom Boom to be the firecracker of this group. I could actually see her getting on Marrow's or Tempo's nerves quite easily, and I would love to see a little bit of drama explode there. Banshee. Banshee hasn't really been all that active since Krakoa, and he's mostly just been used as like a background player or as cannon fodder. He was seen partying with his daughter Siren back when Krakoa was first formed, and then later he was part of the forces of Krakoa that tried to fend off Null's invasion by fighting the symbiote dragon. Then for a while, it looked like Banshee was just getting beat up all the time. He did end up being captured by Null after Null made his way to Krakoa, and later, during the Ten of Swords event, he was with Unnus and Summoner going to Araco through the external gate when a trap was sprung and he was mortally wounded. He ended up in the Healing Gardens, where Rachel tried to pry into his mind in order to see what exactly happened there, but she was kicked out by Saturnyne, who could sense the mutant prying. And then that was pretty much it for Banshee, until he finally saw some decent action with the Marauders. One of Krakoa's Irish warehouses was being staked out by two competing mobs who both said that Shaw was behind on their drug shipments. Banshee tried to keep the peace and come up with an amicable solution, but things quickly devolved into a shootout between the gangs, and then things got even messier when the Reavers arrived just looking to kill everybody. Banshee did his best to fight them all off, but he had to call in some reinforcements, and luckily Emma and the Marauders showed up just in the nick of time. I think Banshee is often overlooked when it comes to X-Men teams, and so I'm really excited to see what he's got going on now, especially since he's not evil or like a horseman or like a corpse, and he's basically just going to have his time to shine with his full power set. Tempo. Things got off to a really slow start for Tempo on Krakoa. First, she was simply being used as Sebastian Shaw's personal whiskey distiller by using her powers to age up his libations. That's a pretty lame way to use her powers, but it was just nice seeing her being used at all and with that cutthroat attitude that we love from her, so I was fine with it. Then later, she was seen as the welcoming committee for the HELLFIRE Gala. She was stationed outside one of the gateways and was pinning Krakoan flowers onto the guests so that they'd be able to pass through without a problem. Then Tempo finally got some action during the same issue of Marauders as Banshee. She was part of the squad that showed up to help save him, and when the team discovered that there was a bomb planted in the warehouse, Tempo used her powers to create a time distortion around it, slowing the bomb's explosion down long enough so that the team could safely clear the area of any human bystanders and wait for Kate to help phase her through the explosion. Of course, Tempo is who I am most looking forward to with this team, so I really hope that they give her something great to do on this mission. Forge. Forge has probably been the most active of all the members of this secret X-Men team. He was involved in the very genesis of Krakoa, as Charles tasked him with tweaking Cerebro to be able to store backups of all the mutants in the world, which would essentially be the backbone of the resurrection protocols. After Krakoa was up and running, Forge took to experimenting with the local biological flora and managed to engineer an entire armory of new weaponry for the X-Force squad to use. One of the items he created was a new arm for Domino that reacts to her mental command and can change into pretty much anything she thinks of. He joined up with the X-Force squad in keeping Krakoa safe during a sudden attack from the human Merc squad. He also created a bunch of cool wetsuits for X-Force and joined them in an underwater adventure to kill a bunch of reanimated corpses and evil fishes. Forge joined the Marauders in a mission as well. This one was to extract his old assistant to safety after he learned that his old power dampening tech was being used against mutants again. Him learning that information was kind of an awkward moment between him and Storm, as Storm is the person that this tech was first used against so many years ago. So when she confronted him with the possibility of its existence again, it was just really awkward. Forge also helped the X-Factor team by creating Fleet C technology for them, which was essentially a way for them to determine when a potential missing mutant case was active. He also helped the new X-Men squad with their New York Treehouse headquarters, even though he lost the election to join their ranks. He's done all this stuff, and Forge somehow still had time to race with Shuri and a bunch of other delegates in a multinational race course. Now that is time management. Marrow. Marrow has also been keeping a pretty low profile on Krakoa. When she first came through the portal with the other villains, I thought it meant that she was going to be starting up some trouble, as Marrow has mostly been on the somewhat heroic side for the past 20 or 15 years, so it was kind of weird seeing her fashioned as a villain then. But she really hasn't gotten up to much, be it villainous or heroic. Marrow joined her fellow Morlocks in defending Lowtown from the invading Reavers. I really enjoyed watching her and Mask and Bliss and the others fight, because the Morlocks really don't get enough limelight as a whole. After the Reavers were defeated, Marrow took to the bar and everyone celebrated the birth of Mutitown. Marrow was also revealed to be roommating with Feral on Krakoa. Feral had recently been resurrected, and the two of these gals are well known for their sharp tempers, so it took no time at all for them to get on each other's cases and let the fur fly and bones break. They soon saw eye to eye though, after Marrow learned that Feral was a former Morlock as well, and Marrow came to Feral's defense when she was being teased by Roulette at the Green Lagoon. The most recent thing Marrow did was team up with a bunch of other Outcast-style mutants and help Magic in fighting the Man-Thing's enemy, the Harrower. The Earth was on fire because everyone was afraid of these weird man-thingy demonic plant things that were growing around, but luckily Marrow and the team were able to defeat the Harrower and set things right again. It's always fun to watch Marrow let loose with her bones, so I'm hoping there'll be a time in this one-shot where she gets to go just crazy. Strong Guy. Strong Guy has literally been up to the least of everyone on this team. I can't think of a single thing that he's actually done since being resurrected on Krakoa, aside from being seen in a crowd. He was seen flirting with Selene at the Green Lagoon in one panel, which I think implies that they were supposed to be hooking up. And then later, he was seen in a bunch more crowds, like as an onlooker at the Crucible match of Danny versus Karma, and then again when everyone was mourning Xavier after he was shot. I'm happy that this election at least put Guido back on people's minds again, because it looked like he wasn't on anybody else's, especially not the writers, and I'm super happy that he's going to be in at least one comic book during this Krakoa era. So that's what everyone has been up to. I'm really looking forward to this team of Secret X-Men, and I can't wait to pick up this one-shot when it drops in February. There's a lot of great personalities on this team, so I really hope that they get the voices right, because the team dynamic could be insane. Please drop me a comment and let me know what you think of this new team. I wonder if it gets enough hype if it might stick around. Part of me thinks that this team only exists in the first place because of the hype that we as fans gave the election. So maybe if we keep it up, then this team can stick around for more than just a one-shot. If you like this video, please feel free to browse around my channel for more like it. I do reviews and rankings and ruminations, so there's definitely something for everyone. You can also follow me on social media for a smattering of random panel scans with funny captions, or check me out at my website, greatxmentations.com. Thanks for stopping by and spending some time with me today, and be sure to come back again soon for more Great X-Mentations.